Hey everybody, welcome back to another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat. I'm your host Roger DeMint, tuning in from the house. I was out last night doing a little catfish and crappie. Never mind the dirty hat. It just it gets worn a lot. Gets worn a lot. So yeah, hanging out with Justin, fishing fetish. Never mind the dirty hat. Oh, it just it gets worn a lot. That's me. You don't want to hear me twice. A lot. Once is bad enough. Yeah, so we went to Deer Creek last night, got to hang out for a little bit and catch some catfish and crappie, and got to catch up a little bit. It's been a while since I've been hanging out with Justin there. But hey, just wanted to give a real quick holler to everybody hanging out so far in chat. We had a couple early birds talking in the background. Ernie in the house. Tommy Long with Minnow Dunkers. I think he's out fishing right now, but he's tuning in and listening. So good luck with your tournament out there tonight. So let me know how that goes for you. Uncle Lou's in the house, hanging out as well. JP3, Justin's fishing fetish. Mike Kaufman's also tuning in. Eddie Gross, Stonefly 71, and JP3 so far tuning in. We had a couple other lives going on. I was hanging out a little bit with Kelly Bullock Experience there. He had Dieter Melhorn on chat today at 6 o'clock. So that was a neat experience. Kind of candid one-on-one with Dieter Melhorn, and then also we got I think Kevin Palmetto Cats is out live fishing on the Cooper River. So we'll. I'm sure we'll have some folks trickling in as the night goes on, but there's Dale Hayslip. Jacob, what's going on, buddy? Mike Kaufman, we've been talking a little bit about fishing some local lakes and how to get try to help him get on some bank spots that could be productive, not only just for fun, but also in a catfish challenge tournament that he's accepted into. And so I'll help him, even though I'm competing against him, I'm going to still do my very best to help him find the best spot I can, so that it's fun, entertaining, and then value added for them as well. Brad's in the house. Brad, thanks for stopping in, buddy. Appreciate it. Jim with Buckeye Catfishing. So what lake is he fishing? I think he's fishing Lake Logan. He does I believe it's a bass tournament on Tuesday nights. Tommy Long there, Minnow Dunkers. That guy fishes for everything. He is just a well-rounded angler who just is good at everything. Is actually the inspiration for my topic tonight. I was talking to him this week about bait situation. Hey, Paula Smith, thanks for tuning in. Girl, thanks for tuning in. Ricky Taylor, hey, what's up, buddy? Everybody's been, bouncing around wanting to know where the skipjack are at, because they have not really moved in to most of the dams around here at all. Avid fisherman in the house, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Straight to the point outdoors, thank you. So a lot of messages throughout the week for me are guys asking, hey, has anybody catching skipjack? Have they moved in? What happened? Where are they at? And to be honest with you, I only knew of one dam. It was Meldahl Dam, and I think a couple was caught at RC Bird, but it was very short. I think it was right before we got that big rain, and the river shot up there for a while. And so the skipjack catching has been pretty slow so far, just a few here and there. But talking to Tommy the other day, he was really whooping up on the Moon Eye, and Moon Eye is a fantastic bait all year long, really. But as we get into these warmer months of pre-spawn, especially when the water heats up, Moon Eye is an excellent bait. It seems that no matter how many you got, or if you freeze them or not, they still work. After they've been thawed. Obviously, you could keep Moon Eye alive like a shad. It's basically a carnivorous shad if you think about it. Its diet is minnows and bugs and things like that, whereas a shad eats plankton and non-carnivorous. He's an herbivore. There we go. That's what I was trying to think of. But catching those daggone little moon eye is a trick. I went last year for a while and hung out with Tommy and the gang. There's Derek with Ohio Catfish Chasers, Trophy Seekers Outdoors. What's going on? Bluegill has been killing Tennessee and Chattanooga for the last 2 months. Yeah, the bluegill are fantastic bait. We've actually been throwing a lot of bluegill here lately just because it's, I've got some in the bait tank stored up and ready to roll. Just about any time I walk out the door, I can take at least a 15, 20 bluegills with me. But I really want to focus on these moon eye and what it is to catch them and keep them and use them. Because as the water temperatures warm up, I didn't check today. My buddy just got off the water a little bit ago. They had a decent day today. Fished around a lot before they finally found some fish, but it turned out to be pretty good for him and the 2 boys he was fishing with, or 3 boys he was fishing with. So congratulations, you guys, getting on some fish today. But as far as the moon eye go, catching these guys is a trick. It takes a lot of finesse and a lot of patience. It took me about 79 right now. The high river is not 79 degrees, Derek. Where are you at? I got to guess where you at, but I won't disclose your private location. Man, lake, it might be 79, but it ain't 79 on the river. I can tell you that. It was 64, 65 degrees Sunday when I was out with the wife, I believe. So we're getting right to that pre-spawn section. Goldeye are like ticks here. Goldeye are the same thing, really. Uncle Lou, as the moon eye we're talking about here. Actually, goldeye are bigger in size and even a better bait than the moon eye is. Creole Catfish is in the house. What's going on? Skip Stewart, Clearview Outdoors, is tuning in. Thanks, brother, for hopping on. See, I've seen a couple. Hill Jack, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you in chat with us, hanging out again. We missed you. Glad things starting to turn around for you and get better. But so the moon eye, the golden eye, is basically a bigger version of the moon eye, and they're great bait. For here, most guys are using either mealworms, waxworms, or crickets to catch them. And, they're found kind of like a skipjack. They like to hang out in current seams. They do like flow, and they do like goldeneye are endangered here and can't keep them. Yeah, we don't have hardly any goldeneye here, and we'll get back on track here. Trophy seeker. Anyway, they hang out in the seams, and there's a lot of different ways to catch them. The most common way is a float and use a little bobber. I use minnow 14 inches under bobber on seam lines. Yeah, that's basically the same way we like to fish for them here. They'll range in depths. They can go any from 14 inches to 8 to 10 feet deep. In most cases, they seem to start out really shallow early on. Most people are catching them right before daylight. Justin, catching them right before daylight, and you're just an hour or so. And once the sun comes up, they really seem to go deep. The higher the sun goes, the deeper they go. And so people think that you can't catch them. They stop dropping their bobbers down deeper and deeper. And in most cases, they're just dropping down deeper in the water column. Question: is it possible to have golden eye and not moon eye in a river system? I've caught plenty golden eye, not a single moon eye. I'll be honest, I do not know the answer to that question. I have heard that a lot, that it seems like you either have one or the other. In most cases, you don't have both, but I don't know why. Not 100% sure why that would be that way. But I've also heard that as well, Creel. So that's a good question. If anybody knows the answer to that, feel free to throw it in here, because I am unaware. It's been hot down here. It's still 90 degrees right now. Best times are early morning and PM just before dark. That's right, Uncle Lou. Like I said, on a bobber. Now, type of bobber you use actually makes a difference. That's all right, Paula. She's over there trying to get at it with keep up with everybody. It's not easy. But the type of bobber you use actually makes a difference when it comes to catching skip or moon eye. This right here is turned out to be my preferred method. I'm no moon eye catching fool, but I've been studying and learning on getting better at it because they are a good bait, and I want to catch them. I want some in my arsenal when I head out. But the reason this bobber turns out to be a little bit better is because on those real light, finicky bites, sometimes, these guys just barely hit it, or they pick it up. And it's unreal just how fast they can take a cricket off your line. Let me tell you, it's unreal. But with a bobber like this, if they hit it and it just twitches or lays down on you, then it's a good indication you're getting a bite. Whereas if you're using a weighted bobber or a slip bobber of some kind, by the time you notice what's going on, chances are they've already got your bait and they're gone. These, being a direct connect with your bait, and then being a good indicator, being able to lay down or twitch whenever they get hit, really seems to help out a lot as far as a good indication of catching them. A lot of folks use like a double hook rig, kind of like a Kentucky rig, add the weight to the bottom and set 2 to 3 hooks off the line so that you got different depths, because like we said a minute ago, they could be anywhere from 14 inches deep to 4 feet deep. And so it's good to have a couple different depth ranges until you can key in on, what depth they're hitting. Meadow Dunker says buzzbait time here. Like I said, he's out on the fishing a local bass tournament circuit. He was last weekend he was up at Sandusky Bay and took second place in the catfish tournament up there, and so congratulations for that. A lot of us ran into him at the Rocky Fork Channel Cat tournament, where he won the biggest cat for the tournament. So Tommy knows his stuff. He's a multi-species angler. He likes to catch them all. He loves the challenge. Just like we don't have many golden eyes here and a crap ton of moon eye, you have golden eye, no moon eye. I think it could be water issues. Yeah, I think that, like you said, I hear that a lot, but I don't know why. I don't have the answer to why to that. I've never seen moon eye here, just golden eye and skipjack herring from time to time. I'm not sure why they would only be from time to time. Paula, good night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping in, girl. Love you. Hope everything's going okay. Uncle Lou, tons of skipjack, tons of golden eye, no moon eye. Yeah. Do the golden eye have a spiked tongue like a moon eye? I'm going to assume they do, but hey, Matt, what's going on, buddy? Lee Reed, have you got an answer for that? I've never put my hands on a golden eye. I've caught more than a handful of moon eye. It took me a while to get the hang of it, but I'm not sure about the tongue thing. We move around in coves and run about cast netting them pretty easy. You cast netting the moon eye, Brad? I think I've only caught 1 or 2 moon eye in a cast net. But but it's because I've targeted them a little bit differently than what I did in the past. This last year I picked up a much bigger, much heavier cast net than what I have been using. Mike Irvin, thanks for stopping in, buddy. I went to an 8-foot, 5/8 mesh, 1.4 pounds per foot. One of them have teeth. There you go. That's right. Golden eye with his mouth open intro of one of my videos. I remember seeing, I believe it was your wife that had a hold of the bait there. Hill Jack, driving, riding, and listening. Be careful. Appreciate you tuning in. Be safe. Always heard that red horse suckers are great bait. We'll keep in a bait tank for several days. Yeah, I love red horse suckers. I used to have some really good bait holes to get them out of, and they've changed the structure. A couple of these farms changed the structure of the creek, and they took out some trees that took out all the deep bends of the creek that went down through there, and it's all very shallow and flat. So a lot of my good creek areas to get suckers has been gone. Never seen a gold eye or a moon eye or a skipjack. Well, you stick around, you hang out in these shows long enough, you'll start seeing them. I'm not sure where you're fishing at. Both of these fish are generally found at dams. Now moon eye, I don't know about golden eye because I don't fish for them, but I know moon eye, anywhere you can find a good current seam. So even like, if the river's got some current on the back of a barge and it creates a current seam off of the back of that barge, or a barge tie off or anything like that, you could find them hanging out in that seam. It don't have to be at the dam, but the dam is the most common area to find them. There are times at Greenup where it might be skips one day and moon eye there the next. Yeah, that's kind of what I heard the other day. Tommy, like I said, is in here. He stacked up on the moon eye. Only caught a handful of skipjack though. And in most cases, it's a toss up for most people on between those two baits of which one's better. Moon eye, they say, is just a fantastic bait when you can get it. I've used it and had success on it, but I never had enough of it. I never had enough of it on hand to compare it against other baits consistently to say that it's performing or outperforming. A couple of times I've made it out with some fresh moon eye and I did catch fish on them, but not to say that I couldn't have caught fish on anything else. Roger, when you cut the sucker, how do you cut it for bait? I chunk it up. I start right behind the head and chunk it up. It depends on the size of it. Most of the suckers we're getting down here are, 12 inches or less. We can't get them even bigger than that. But I'll chunk them right up. The sucker head is one of my favorite baits. It's a great piece of bait. She said, I've seen pics and videos, but not in real life. Yeah, it takes a little bit it takes some work. I can tell you right now, if you ever get into catching a good mess of skipjack, you'll be hooked. And they are so much fun to catch. It's dynamite. They explode on the rod, and they fight you like crazy. You miss half of them, get off, half of them you get to the bank, and it could be really, really fun. Keep for several days. I thought that's what you said. If you find river shiners, we find both bait fish there. Yeah. So, if you follow the blue herrings or especially the cormorants, if you follow the cormorant birds on the river, they'll usually give away where the shiners are. The river shiners is like the majority of their diet, and that's also the majority of moon eye and skipjack's diet. So when you start seeing those birds sitting on the water and you see them ducking under and whatnot, it's a good indication that there's the river shiners are there. And it's a good indication that your moon eye and skipjack are somewhere, or at least one or the other are somewhere nearby. And to start looking for those current seams and see if you can't catch some. I always have a bait rod on the boat. I have a collapsible Cast King rod and reel that stays on the boat all the time. Even when I forget bait rods, I've got one on there. Can't say that it's the greatest to use, but in a pinch, it gets the job done. Jim Catman Clark, what's going on, buddy? Don't know how my name changed. Don't know how my name changed. Kentucky Catman Outdoor Adventures. It looks the same on my end. I have Moon Eye in the Little River. I'm going to assume that was Golden Eye and Gizzard are in the bigger rivers. But you've got both in the area, but not in the same area, not in the same bodies of water, and that's kind of weird. I don't understand how that works or why it is that way. I may figure it out. In my area, skipjack always outperform Moon Eye and pretty much everything else. Skipjack is a fantastic bait. I'm not sure how much. Of course, it looks like you guys can catch Moon Eye pretty easy down there, but I'm not sure how much Moon Eye you're using to give it a fair shake against skipjack. Skipjack's good 365. The Moon Eye really seems to get good right here as the water heats up. Now, like you said, I believe last week or Friday night, you guys are starting to go into spawn down in your area. So we are probably about 3 weeks behind you, which is no good. Our river right now has like no current. It's slowed down. It's the Ohio Lake right now. It's tough. I fished the tailwaters of Taylorsville Lake, but I don't know if they are in the Salt River or not. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that area down there. I have fished Taylorsville Lake once. Matter of fact, I fished it with Justin's Fishing Fetish. We fished a tournament on that lake a few years ago. At that time, Taylorsville Lake had a thermocline of 7 feet, so it was difficult to fish, especially in a tournament scenario. We use what we get as fish food, all the same. It all depends on the day and time and place. Yeah, and that's the general, at least in our area. And stonefly is local here. If you have fresh Moon Eye, shovelhead will kill there. And hello, Becca. Thanks for tuning in. She's been everywhere. That girl. I said it. I think she was over in Palmetto's stream. She was dropping some links and stuff over there, and I was like, man, she is always watching over us, helping out. Thanks, Becca, for being in chat. Appreciate it. I see lots of shad, red horse suckers, and creek chubs. Yeah, all of those are fantastic bait. The red horse suckers and creek chubs consistently are a fantastic bait. This time of year, like I said, pre-spawn and going into spawn, warm water for whatever reason. In this area anyway, the Moon Eye really outperform most other baits. And there we go. I'm heading down there. Caught about 100 skipjack today and caught 24 catfish in 2 days. Outstanding, Mike Greenwell. That's really good. We did pretty good on Saturday. Zach and I went up to Greenup Dam. We caught 26 catfish at Greenup Dam. We actually we had 22 fish by noon. Ran out of bait. Had to run way down river to Marina to catch more shad and run all the way back up. And even the shad wasn't easy to get either. It was kind of tough. And that's another thing there. The gar are spawning right now at the dams, and they are. And I'll tell you that ever since I talked to Creole Catfishing and he put this thought in my mind, it makes more sense than what anything I've used in the past was. Because I used to be one of the guys that said, if the gar's in the area, why would bait fish or any other fish be around? They just leave. I mean, they're getting slaughtered. Fish don't have brains. They don't have the ability to rationalize and think ahead. That's danger go. It's now. There is no yesterday and there is no tomorrow. There's only now when it comes to fish. And so the fish can't, decide, hey, we need to get out of here. They can't communicate. But what we can say is that the gar waste a lot of fish. In a lot of cases, the gar or the needle nose gar is what we're talking about in our area. We do not have alligator gar here. They waste a lot of fish. They hit the fish, they damage the fish, and they circle back around and then eat the fish. In most cases, the fish goes away. They don't find it. They cut it in half. They only eat one half. and that the catfish kind of hang out downriver of where all these gar are hanging out, and they pick up all the scraps. Easy pickings, easy meals coming at them. As these gar are up there just chomping away at everything, the catfish are right behind them just picking up all the scraps. And it has really kind of changed the way I think about gar in the area. Now I'm deliberately setting up behind the gar at the dams anyway, and it seemed to be helping out. That definitely didn't hurt anything. We was getting 2 gar bites to every catfish bite on Saturday, and it was a little frustrating. We went through a lot of bait, but we caught a lot of fish. I've kept them alive till home and vacuum seal, flash froze, salt, ice, brine, thrown just on ice and vacuum sealed, still get mushy. Yeah. They say they still do get mushy, or they still get pretty soft. But if you can keep them on a hook, even though they're soft, they still perform very well. Oops. Country Boy, thanks for tuning in. There's Brandon, Catfish and Dreams. Trying to catch everybody as you all roll in. We got 34 folks in chat. Thanks for stopping in. Want to be outdoors. That's Matthew. Let's see. Making sure I didn't miss anybody down through there. Looks like a lot of hellos coming in. Yeah. Creole gave me that, put that thought in the back of my mind. And, just like when, Tim Scott's in chat and whatnot, and he drops some stuff on you sometimes, and you're just like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Or, man, that makes a lot of sense. So this morning started out slow, but we figured it out and caught them. There you go. That's the thing, man. You got to keep changing. You got to keep an open mind when you're fishing. Don't do what has always worked, or don't do what the other guy's doing. I like the saying that if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. And so if it ain't working, you can try something else, and just because it's working for one person doesn't mean it's working for everyone. So I'll give you a story that goes along with that. All right. Little girl goes to her mom and says, "Hey, Mama, I want to make Grandma's famous fish." But she always cuts off the head. Why does she cut off the head? Or why do you cut off the head? She asked her mom. She said, "Well, Grandma always cut off the head, so that's how I fix my fish." So the little girl goes to Grandma and says, "Grandma, why do you cut the head off the fish before you cook it?" And she said, "Well, that's the way my mom did it." And in this scenario, great grandma is still alive. So she asked great grandma, she said, "Great grandma, why do you cut the head off of the fish before you cook it?" She said, "Because my pan was too small. My pan was too small. Fish wouldn't fit. I had to cut the head off." And that story's funnier in my head, I promise. But the thing is, just because it's working for somebody, or see something that works for someone, that scenario may not be the same in your water, may not be the same even in that same body of water, but not the same stretch. We all fishing, a lot of us fishing the Ohio River. We're all fishing different pools of the Ohio River for most cases. So just because, it was done that way, or you heard it done this way or saw that way, doesn't mean it's the only way to get it done. The way they did it may have been because the pan was too small. When you package them, keep the salt brine on them and they will stay hard. See, that's I usually do keep the salt brine on my fish when I freeze. I usually never wipe them off. I do not like to wipe off the slime coat or anything off of the fish before I use them. Stonefly, you might be the only person I know that knows what VIX netting is. VIX netting is it's actually surgical netting that they use for bandaging and dressings on wounds and different things. But they use it kind of like old school folks used to use pantyhose to keep chicken liver and whatnot on the hook. And now they've got this VIX netting that you can buy, and it comes in, packages. You can cut it to size. It comes in already pre-cut sizes, and it's like a cloth netting that you can wrap your bait up in and put it up on the hook. And it's staying on there for a while. I haven't used it, but I definitely have thought to put it in my arsenal. in situations like this, when you've got soft bait or fish are just taking your bait immediately, it would have saved us a trip to the marina on Saturday, because we wouldn't have gone through as much bait as quickly as we did. Let's see. Now I can say, hey, Matthew, or whatever you prefer. Oh, let's see. One be Mike Irvin. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, mesh netting. Sunday, there were 20 people snagging at our hydro dam. Nobody really catching. We pull up between them all and start bumping and doubled up twice in the first 200 feet. Man, it's awful if you're the guy on the bank, but when you're the guy in the boat, that is awesome. We've had some instances like that. Saturday, it was kind of that way. There were some guys up on the bank by the dam. Actually, the bank was completely loaded. We thought they must have been nailing skipjack. I mean, they were elbow to elbow at the dam. And so we busted out the binoculars and kind of watched some folks for a while. They weren't catching anything. You know, it was Saturday. Everybody wanted to be there early and try it. If the skipjack were there, they wanted to be on them. It just wasn't happening. But we were putting fish in the boat. We had a couple of double ups. We actually had a triple up once. We were hooting and hollering, having a good time. Yeah, for the guys on the bank, not cool. For those of us that were actually on the fish, and it's been the other way around. I've been the guy in the boat not catching anything, watch the guy on the bank murder him. So all the locals think that snagging is the only way to catch them. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of snagging. I've never tried to snag for spoonbill or any of that kind of stuff, so I can't say I wouldn't enjoy it unless I tried it. But I haven't. I've never tried to snag anything, so I'm not. I used to use pantyhose. Now I just use old thread and tie it on. Are we still talking about bait, or is that a fashion statement? I'm not. I'm teasing. She's going to kick my butt. Rob Mo Creek, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Sampy, thanks for stopping in, checking us out, saying hello. Becca says, remember to hit that thumbs up. Be kind, let Roger know how much you enjoy. Hey, thank you, Becca. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Snag a boat, 6 fish in the boat. A little bit of sore mouth starting on that one. We saw a lot of banged up blue cats coming out of the dam on Saturday. Mike Greenwell, have you seen anything down your way as far as banged up blue cats? We had some with some big sore. Well, we saw some with big sores on them that looked like lamprey sucking on them, but we also had some with bare fins, sore mouths, heads scraped up. I don't know if they're just starting to spar around or if they're getting ready to do their thing. But we had a lot of banged up fish on Saturday. I'm gonna have to change my name to Drifting Mike. We have no current, so we've been drifting and catching. Yeah, it's the same up here, buddy. We were fishing at the dam, and we couldn't even keep the boat straight against the wind. There was not enough current. With I had a 56 and a 46-inch drift sock out, and it still wasn't enough. Yeah, there you go, Derek. They got sore mouth now that you stuck a hook in them. Dave Funk's in the house. Dave Hoover Funk. That's right. I tried to snag my rod that zoomed off with a trail of bubbles down Taylorsville Lake. I've had to do some snagging in my day to get stuff back. I'll scroll back up and see. All right, so snagging is different ways. Most people use either a weighted treble hook or a weight in front of the treble hook, but they will cast the treble hook out basically as far as they can and send it, and you start cranking it back in quick. And when they feel it bump into something, they just set the hook into it, and you may snag into the tail of a fish, the back of a fish, the fish's head, side. You'll snag it, and you can still fight it and bring it in. I'll tell you, if you've ever foul hooked a fish of any kind, the fight is 10 times harder when they're not hooked in the mouth. So Yeah, I can imagine the fight if you catch something, especially when the guys snag those big spoonbill. That is the only way to catch a spoonbill. And so I understand the need to snag those because you can't catch them any other way. They don't bite. They eat plankton, and they're a giant filtration system running around the river. OCC is definitely, I already got that. Snag for years, no sport in my opinion. Yeah, Creole. I feel the same way. Like I said, except for spoonbill, where it's the only option you have to hook one is snagging it. But for me, I'll stick to hook and line. I've got Asian carp snagging video on my channel where I explain everything. There you go. That's another one there. Asian carp. You know, those fish you can't catch on a hook and line. Snagging is the only way to get them. Dave Funk, Catapalooza was a lot of fun. I'm anxious to see how that went. I haven't got any firsthand feedback. My buddy Herb went down this weekend, and he was down there. I'll be hanging out with him tomorrow to kind of get the feel of how it was, what kind of representation we got. I'm sure being the first year, it wasn't to maximum capacity or potential. But James Arwood is awesome dude, and I would love to have been there to support it, but I couldn't make it this year. So hopefully we get down there next year. We used to hook spoonbill all the time. They run like crazy when hooked. Yes, they go berserk. It's crappie fishing, and Dad doubled. He threw me a crappie to measure, and the second I stepped to get the fish out of the middle of the boat, my rod was gone. Off it went fast and hard, straight out of sight. Those are great memories, though. That's what makes fishing fun, is the adventures that come along with it, the stories we tell. Fins and Finds, hey buddy, thanks for stopping in. Hooks and Hammocks, Chris. Can't remember if I caught you earlier or not. There we go. Uncle Lou's tackle. I need to get stocked up on some Uncle Lou's tackle, man. I'm running low on all my terminal tackle. I've been putting everything I got into my boat, and I went to tie some rigs the other day, and I was like, dang, I'm out of hooks and quick clips. I need to get a tackle supply ordered. So I'll have to get with you, Uncle Lou, and see what you got. Get ordered up. I snagged my girlfriend, but she can bite hard. Sticking my finger in a fish's mouth aren't nothing. Yeah, you snagged the wife. You could be in trouble. My wife, she's actually gotten pretty good. She's starting to throw the bait casters pretty good. She's pretty proud of her Paula Smith rod. I put her a Boo Garcia catfish special 6500 on there for her with the big handle and all that. But she's getting the hang of it. She's starting to throw the other rods and reels. Now she's starting to learn how to tie her own rigs and name her own knots. So pretty proud of her. She's been pretty excited and intrigued on learning more. Steve Douglas has a video, Asian carp. Got that. Mindy, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I always have rods in a holder or bails open while catfishing, but not when bluegill crappie fishing. That day I learned my lesson. Yeah, here this last couple weeks, I've been catching a lot of channel cats right up on the bank with a crappie minnow, and so I don't lay that rod anywhere but in the rod holder when I put it down, because you are just asking for it if you don't. So a couple other things to talk about. So some of you was talking about the moon eye stuff. I took some notes, as far as tactics and whatnot. We talked about the crickets, the mealworms, the waxworms, those all good. Obviously, light line, something that you can, very responsive to when you get a bite. You can see it because that's normally the problem. We covered all that. We talked about earlier. We was talking about bait tanks. Somebody messaged me earlier. Man, I've had a lot of messages. Was talking earlier about bait tanks and how much salt I use in my bait tank. And for keeping shad alive. So right now, there we go. We were catching catfish while crappie fishing. You know, right now the water's getting warm again. Shad's going to get even harder and harder to keep, even if you got a great bait tank. I've got a 30 gallon extreme bait tank, which actually holds 40 gallons of water because the filtration side isn't really, they don't consider it a holding area. So they don't count it in the gallons. But a good rule of thumb is 1 cup per 10 gallons. So for me, I got a 40 gallon capacity tank. I'm going to put 4 cups of salt in it. And the salt I like to use is the Morton's natural salt. It's the crystal stuff. And those of you who have been on the boat with me see that I keep like a big Folgers can full of salt on my boat at all times. And so thank you. And so when I go set up my bait tank, I actually do it at home. I prefer, it's basically the Chris Souders method. I learned a lot from Chris. Chris is a fantastic teacher. Chris Souders has so many instructional videos on his channel that it's unreal. I find myself watching, rewatching, and watching again a lot of his old videos and even the newer stuff that he's got out. But I basically mirror what he does with his bait tank, which is the cup of salt per 10 gallons. And then I also like to add some stress coat. There's a stuff called API stress coat, or there's actually some other, it's a cheaper alternative. It's called Prime. And it's basically the same thing. It's basically turns your tap water into safe water for fish. And so you can, for me, it seems like I have a much better success rate with keeping my fish alive when I do the prep and use the cold water out from the house, even though it's tap water, and treating the tap water. I seem to be able to keep fish alive a lot longer in that water treated than I can if I pump warm water up out of the river or lake. And so I go through a lot of that. I go through that and the better bait, the blue stuff that you guys see like in the bait shops. Most of them are buying that stuff by huge bucket loads. And, you can get it by the cup. You can get it by the jar. I always get a 3 pound tub of it. And if you happen to be in good with one of your bait shops, I got in good with my bait shop, and I was lucky enough to where, I just go in and they've got a huge, they buy it in great big bulk, great big bucket on the floor. And I can go in and scoop my little 3 pound scoop up out of there. And, he charged me like $20 because if you break it down, it really is about that. But because he's buying it in bulk, he's getting it for that price. And so if you get lucky to get in with that better bait, that is really, really good stuff. It's basically salt with a little bit of other additives in it to make the water safe for the fish. And it helps out quite a bit. I use a lot of better bait, especially starting right now. The water warms up. Terry Lane, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. There's Lynn Leaper. Good night. Yes, salt without iodine. That's right. So like I said, I use the Morton's pure natural salt. I use Jap Stress Coat, and it's a water conditioner. Yep. Like I said, I use another name called Prime. The other stuff that you can get it at, I think you can get it at Walmart. You can definitely get it at Petlands and PetSmart, Petco's, and things like that. It's API Stress Coat. See, I was missing that. Whiskers. Hey, first of all, hi, Whiskers and Stripes and Avid. Thanks for tuning in. I pump lake water up to 50 feet deep for my tank with a hose and bilge pump. Holy crap. You keep 50 foot of hose. Well, I guess 50-foot garden hose ain't a whole lot of hose, but the hose I use a 1,100 gallon per hour. I build it as a utility pump for anything, and I actually use it for everything. And one of my videos, I think I put a video out maybe a year ago or so on what I did with that hose, and it's just a utility pump. If your bilge pump fails, you can throw that in and get to pumping water out quickly. But I use it more likely to pump water in and out of my bait tanks, move stuff around. How long does it take to treat the water? It's instant. I usually use distilled water, but interested in other ways. It will treat tap water instantly. If you just follow the recommendations on the label, depends on, how many gallons you're trying to treat at a time, but it's instantly safe. Now you can also, if you leave tap water sit 24 hours, it will automatically neutralize itself and eliminate the chlorine and all of that in it. But in most cases, I want my water to come out of the tap or out of the garden hose. I want it to be cold. And so as it's getting hot right now, leaving it. Well, I got you, buddy. Okay. Yeah, that's another one there. I think I lost my train of thought. I was trying to keep up with chat here. G-Juice is also really good. There's lots of different products out there that could treat it. But yeah, leaving it overnight. I want to use my water out of my tap and get it cold, and then I treat it right away, and I head out to go get bait. In a lot of cases, I'll catch them at the dam, and in that case, what I do is I used a 55-gallon barrel. I cut it and modified it to be a traveling bait tank, and I go all the way down to the dam, and I make up a salt brine. I think it's 2 cups. It's 10 gallons of water, so I only use 1 cup of salt in it. And yep, there you go. Chlorine gas escapes long enough, about 24 hours. Throwing ice speeds it up. I didn't know the ice speeded up, but that's good. But what I'll do, I'll run all the way down to the dam, and I'll take one of those wagons you get at Walmart. Awesome. I thought it might take longer. I'm raising tadpoles right now, so it might be good for them too. Yes, you definitely don't want to put the tadpoles in tap water. The chlorine and whatnot, chemicals in the water there, not good for them. But any of those other treatment methods are good. Use catch rainwater in a 55-gallon drum, then dip out and use it. No treatment necessary. That's also a fantastic idea. The only problem with that, and because I used to do the same thing, was that here it would get really, really hot, and you would start getting mosquito larvae and everything else in it. Not that water's not safe, but it got stagnant here if the rains didn't come frequent enough. Adding oxygen will also speed it up. Justin, we forgot to go through that hack you showed me last night, how to make that oxygen pump off that thing. That was really cool. I want to know how to do that. I have to let tap water sit out. Yes, tap water you would have to let sit for 24 hours if you do not add any additives to it. Adding the additives to it will make it safe instantly, but if you don't want to do that, or you don't have the time or to run to the store and pick up the chemicals needed, letting it sit for 24 hours will also work. My bait fish love my well water. Yeah, if you're lucky enough to have a well on your property, that water is not only is it pure and already treated for them, and then it's also cold. Well water is fantastic water to use for bait fish. So yeah, Mike's right there. The well water is fantastic. My buddy's got a well in his place, and that we fill up all of our stuff with the well water and go catch our bait. But I like the thought of not waiting a day or so. Yeah. And in that case, some of those chemicals we talked about, can speed up that process. Like I said, it makes it instant. Roger, I'm going to shoot you a message here in a little bit. Okay, no problem, Matt. I'll be watching for it. Talking all this bait is going to force me to catch some creek chubs. Hey, we can. I love creek chubs, man. Creek chub fishing is cool by me. It's one of my favorite baits. I've only got a few areas around here that I can get to. Unfortunately, that's the small private creeks that really seem to hold a lot of them. And I've got a public creek down here that I might be able to sneak some out of, but it gets fished really hard by all the kids in the community. So, yes, we'll drop the mosquito tablets in the water. Helps with use those in the crow water troughs as well. There you go. Very good idea. I didn't think they put the mosquito tablets in on the water. Freeze water bottles and drop them in the filter side of the tank, help cool the water down in the heat of summer. That's also a great idea. Keeping your bait cool and keeping it fresh is going to help out a lot. You know who else probably goes through a lot of bait? Epic Catfish. I bet that guy probably goes through a lot of bait and might have some tips on how to get our bait and keep our bait fresh and lively and keep us fishing longer, because we just want to get bait and get to fishing. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's happening? I do have a few tips. Let me turn some lights on if I can get to them here real quick. Hold on.
We're just kind of going through talking about bait tonight. It started out, my buddy got into a good mess of moon eye, and I have not been very proficient at moon eye, but I was picking up some tips on how to get better at catching some of this bait.
Hey, Roger, I don't think anybody's real proficient at moon eye. because moon eye, believe it or not, are a deep water fish. Now, they present themselves shallow because they're bug eaters, and they come up in the evening. But during the day, most of the time, they're really kind of hanging out deep. Most of the guys you hear catching them are either fishing boils, like with like real fast water on like the Missouri, or below dams or things like that. They're fishing boils with crickets or wax worms or any of that stuff. I've done all that stuff. I prefer to net them because honestly, it takes a long time to catch an amount of moon eye that I need. So yeah, and moon eye are kind of a pain in the butt because they really don't present themselves really well until it's basically the best time that there is to fish in the summertime. So I really hate, leaving fish to go catch moon eye, but I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. This time of year really seems to be the ideal time to start stocking up on the moon eye. I don't know what makes moon eye such a desired bait fish now through, the next month or two.
Well, I would take moon eye all year, every cast. If that's all I could get, I would do moon eye every single time. Now, that's mostly because that's what we don't have a lot of skipjacks up here in the Mississippi River. We really don't. Right. We don't have them. We have them in the Illinois more than we do the Mississippi, believe it or not, because Keokuk stops them. There's the dam I've talked about that it goes, it falls from the top 40 feet straight down. So the only way for, fish to go, it's a hydroelectric dam, and it comes 40 feet straight down. The blues don't migrate past it, and evidently neither do the skipjack.
What pool is that in? Because I'm coming up the Fishing for Freedom, and I think I'm fishing the pools 21 through 24.
I never know what the number is.
Okay.
It's Keokuk. It's right above Burlington. Well, it's actually below Burlington.
I got you.
And when are you doing that?
Not this weekend, but the weekend coming after. It's June 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Well, give me a text. I don't know if I'll be able to go. I talked to my wife about being involved in that, because she's kind of a scheduler. I talked to a couple other things, and business-wise, I really couldn't guarantee I was going to be there. But it could be a last-minute thing. Heroes and I just might hook up the boat and go down there because I know quite a bit about Keokuk and the pool above it.
Ooh.
You won't catch any blues in the pool above it, but there's blues in the pool below it. June is a tough month, though, for blues because the population's not that big yet. But Keokuk at times can be a fantastic flathead pool. Caught 25 flatheads in a day and a half there one time.
That's awesome.
And that was in June. Yeah.
I'd be just fine with that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, one of my top 10 anchors on flatheads is at Keokuk. We caught 9 in a row. I mean, consecutive casts below a wing dike, using, believe it or not, 4-inch shad on the same rod.
Really?
On
4-inch
the same
shad?
rod. On the same rod. 7 flatheads in a row on the same rod. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I was going to say, isn't that usually, you know, the exact same spot over and over again?
Well,
and usually rare.
It's very rare, very, very, very rare. But there was a current break below this wing dike, and evidently it gathered a bunch of flatheads. And as I was throwing, like I described, out to the side, I wasn't throwing 90 degrees because I was behind a wing dike. I was throwing 45 degrees, letting it hit the bottom, and it would go boom, 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 stop, and you put it in the rod holder. By the time you set back down, there goes the rod. And I mean, it did. It happened 7 times in a row. I think the biggest one was 45 pounds, and the smallest one was 15.
Hey, I've got a good question for you. It came up earlier in chat, and I don't know the answer. Maybe you know. Seems like for most of us, you either have moon eye or you have golden eye. So far, most of us that have been talking, it doesn't seem to have both in the same body of water. Are we wrong?
We have both in the same body of water. And
okay.
It's probably because of our location. But St. Louis has both, and every pool above St. Louis, all the way to Keokuk, well, actually all the way north into Minnesota has both.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about, like, if you get down to Kentucky or you get down to all that, you know, the golden eye may disappear, and then the moon eye is prevalent there.
Right.
But they're so close in biology and makeup and everything else that I don't even differentiate. And you know, that's unusual for me. Usually I like to call whatever it is. But, you know, I just call it
right.
Moon eye. Moon eye are like brim to me. You know, moon eye, gold eye, whatever. What's the difference, brim?
Yep, I got you. They're just good bait all around. You can call them whatever you want. They're good bait. Yeah. Hey, just to give you guys a recap on Fishing for Freedom. I talked to Adam today from Fishing for Freedom, and it looks like we are only 10 boats shy of what we need. And the thing is, catfishing division is covered. Nice. So they need 10 more boats in the bass fishing division. But the thing is, in the catfishing division, they've got everybody paired up, but some boats had 2 and 3 veterans in it. So going to be kind of uncomfortable. I think I've got 2 more veterans in my boat this year. But if we can get, a couple more boats down there, that would take some pressure off of those boats that are taking out 3 veterans at a time. It's going to be crowded boats for most boats. But, you know, right now everybody's accounted for. They need about 10 more bass fishing boats. So I know that's not our crowd and our preference here. But, man, I just super proud of, everybody pulling together. I don't know who stepped up and who was able to make it. It's not going to be easy for us to make it. The boat's still touch and go. It'll run fantastic one day, and then the next day it acts stupid. It's running like a scolded dog, and then it falls on its face, and it picks back up. We think maybe carburetors or something. I don't know. It's driving me crazy. I can't afford to keep taking it to the shop, so I think I'm going to run with it the way it is and pray for the best.
That's a little better on the light.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, so the flathead fishing on that last river you did, have you been there since?
Nope. We went Saturday. We went to the dam at Greenup. We talked about that dam before, how it's really up and down. Okay. It's shallow. It's a shallow dam. It goes 20 to there's spots that are 8 feet deep. It goes from 8 to 12 to 17 to 20 back to 8. And we caught a lot of blue cats. We caught 26 fish there, but we didn't really get any big size, and we didn't catch any flatheads. Yeah,
which there should be flatheads there, even though the depth isn't that much. There's probably flatheads there, but we're in that weird interim period where you can go one day and you won't catch a flathead one. And then the next day, you catch 4 or 5. I mean, the late part of May is always like that. At least in our mid range of the country that you and I are in. Even though we're, probably, you're probably 6 hours south of me. But
yeah,
still,
at least, yeah.
we're in that median range where the flatheads do that bite window to where they may only eat for an hour or so. You got to be on the right place at the right time. If we get a night that's a little bit too cold, we don't get enough water, blah, blah. There's all kinds of excuses that flatheads give me. They're the pickiest things in the world until the weather and the water becomes predictable.
Right. Well, right now, I think our water temperature is right around 64, 65 degrees. And our flow has completely shut down. It's the Ohio Lake now. There's no flow.
Yeah.
It's awful.
We're really low. We're getting some rain here locally, but we haven't seen much rain in weeks.
Yeah. We're getting to the point now where we could use a good rain.
The Scary River came up about 1.5 feet, which made last weekend's bite a lot better than the weekend before, even though the weekend before was good. But the bite picked up quite a bit. They were a lot more predictable, a lot more patternable. They were still picky on baits. They wouldn't. They would touch the chicken that we brought, but they wouldn't eat it. They wouldn't eat frozen shad heads. They would peck that. They would eat fresh shad, but we had a very minimal amount. But luckily, they were taking Asian carp downtown. I mean, they were just taking her downtown for some reason. Who knows why? But last weekend they were doing it on that.
Yeah, we don't have any Asian carp here yet, and I'm thankful for that. But I know when I head out there to fish the Mississippi, I'm definitely going to want Asian carp at some point because it seems to work.
You will.
I know last year when we were down there,
because sometimes the blues will peck Asian carp and leave it alone, and sometimes they'll take it down too. It's very, very odd. I'd say on the Mississippi, I'm going to go through my top 5 baits, and that means all the way from Wisconsin all the way down past St. Louis. I'm going to say Moon Eye is my number 1. Number 2, believe it or not, is Golden Sucker. That's just because I can catch it here and take it. Okay. Now, I don't get it down there, but they're big donkey baits. They're real good, and I don't usually have them turning their nose up at it. So as far as Bluecats goes, Moon Eye, Golden Sucker, Asian carp, and then anything else. Buffalo, quillback, herring, anything else. But as far as
so skipjack made it into that anything else category.
No, I prefer skipjack, but I cannot rely on it. So I can't. If I said if it was a wish list, skipjack might have beat Moon Eye at times. It's neck and neck. Skipjack or Moon Eye. And so, but I can't rely on skipjack at all because sometimes it's here and sometimes it's so scarce. There's been entire seasons where we didn't see a skipjack at all below Alton. None.
Man. Daggone.
And
no, it's been pretty tough here.
What's that?
Skipjack's been pretty tough here. We had about a month ago, we had a short three-day window when some people caught scrum, and a couple people caught a good amount. But then we got a big rain. The river came up, 20 feet, and that was it. And we have not been able to get back on them yet. Now, Mike Greenwell's in here tonight, and said he caught hundreds.
There's all kinds of static. I'm sure you can hear it.
Yeah.
All right,
buddy. All right, Skip, that's a great question. We'll ask Tim once he comes back in. If you guys got any other questions for Tim, especially pertaining to bait, I was kind of happy to hear that the Moon Eye and Golden Eye can coexist, but they are also a very well sought after bait, as Tim Scott said. his number one bait. If he could choose bait to have at any given time, Moon Eye is going to be top of the list. So, we'll have him focus on this question here. 3+1, what's up? What's going on? Whiskers and Stripes. 34 folks in chat. Thank you guys for being here. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet and you're having a good time, please take this moment to do so. It helps me out a lot. Helps get the channel recognized. Get some get the channel suggested on other streams so people can find us. And Becca pointed out earlier we're at 923 subs, and so we're slowly but surely closing in on that 1,000 mark. And I appreciate each and every one of you that are here and hanging out and have made that happen. And can't wait to celebrate that 1K when we get there. I'm going to try to make it as big and as fun as I can. Boom, he's back. And right as you left, because the no current situation like that there, Epic, what should our main focus be for flatheads when there's no current like there is right now?
Well, you have to eliminate current out of your equation, and what's left is cover and depth. So basically, if you take current out of a river, it's like a lake. So you got to pay attention to the cover, which means sticks, logs, big rocks, obstructions, bridge pillars, bridge abutments, holes, things like that. And then the depth, that's going to be the adequate depth for the species you're looking for. So as far as flatheads goes, flatheads don't like overly deep water where we're at. I know they catch them in 45, 50 foot of water down there on the Tennessee. But most of the time, our big flatheads are 20 foot, between 5 and 20 foot of water, with a good solid. I would say if I was to average all of the depths that I catch big flatheads in the month of June, from Wisconsin all the way down to St. Louis, I would have to say, give me 15 foot. If you said, Tim, you can only fish one depth, what are you going to fish? It's going to be 15 foot. I'm gonna skip the 7 or 8 because that's a lot more rare. I will catch some big fish, especially closer to July 4th that we get. But if you give me 15 foot to work with, 12 to 15 foot, that's what I like for big flatheads and believe it or not, numbers. Now, if I want to catch small flatheads, I want to go 10 foot and less. Even though there's plenty of big, of smaller flatheads in those bigger holes. But those bigger holes, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 foot, you got to fish the perimeter, not the heart of it. The heart of it is going to be where your big flathead sits. And them little flatheads are nothing but food.
Yeah. We, I usually try to target about that depth for flatheads generally. And I like to try to sit close to in my situation, I try to sit next to a deep drop off or deep hole, or next to a shallow flat. If I've got 15 foot of water and then I've got 3 to 6 foot flat next to me, those are some of the places I like to stick to the most.
Those I generally skip, and I'm not telling you that you're not doing the right thing. It's just for me, there's a lot of shallow flats on a lot of pools that I fish. So how am I going to know which shallow flat is going to hold big fish? So I've generally eliminated those, which has actually put me on fish more of a percentage of time than guessing where the fish are coming to. Okay. So basically our situation that I fish is you got your main river channel, or your main river channel, and I'm going to eliminate those long flats as much as I can. So if that bank is shallow and I can see that there's a flat coming out 50, 60 yards, I eliminate it altogether. I go for that steeper bank, that harder current, find some obstructions, find a situation where it's a little bit shallower and it dumps off deeper, directly inline, not like a ledge, but like a drop hole. So I'm going to increase my chances by just eliminating those flats, because to me, I'm impatient. I don't like 30-minute waits for a bite. I want to throw it into their nose in the first 15 minutes and have some feedback. And I want to keep moving. Now I will set up on spots that have traditionally paid off in the form of fish over 50 pounds. I don't normally sit on fish on spots that have only paid off in 30s or 40s. I like the spots that are 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now, you start eliminating a lot of water when you start talking about holes or spots that give up 80s in any sort of consistency. I'm super lucky if I catch 380s in an entire year. But and it's been quite a few years since I've been on that kind of bite, because a couple of my spots got changed. One got dredged. There was a barge that got moved. It used to be there all the time, and it had enough time to scour out just the right hole underneath the barge, blah, blah, blah. I've got a couple of sunken ships that I can still depend on having a shot at an 80, but I can't do with those spots what I used to, it seems, in the last 2 or 3 years. But in the last 2 or 3 years, I don't fish every day either, and those big fish seem to be on a 3-day cycle. So if I'm there after they've already fed, who's to say that they're not there? It's just I could do those 80s when I was doing 3, 4, or 5 days trips in a week, especially in June. If I was doing 25 to 28 days in June, I'd catch 50 fish over 50 pounds, and in a handful would be, a good handful would be over 65, 70, and a few would be over 80. But that hasn't happened in a little while.
I got a question. Well, let's get to Uncle Jeep's question first. He says, "What makes Mooneye your bait of choice? Is it the thicker skin, oily, stays alive, a hook longer? What makes it your preference?"
It is oily, and if anybody's used Mooneye, that once that Mooneye starts to get a little bit old, it's almost like 90 weight grease. Have you experienced that?
No, I haven't had enough experience with Mooneye to really put any consistency to them.
Well, I've
caught them and I've used them, but not frequent.
I actually got onto Mooneye because I'd used them, but I hadn't talked to enough people that used them, because everybody up here keeps that stuff a secret. And Mark Farrell and Luke Steen, which were a tournament team at the time that I was getting into this Mooneye thing, they were keeping that so secret in all their tournaments. And I mean, they were winning tournament after tournament, and no one knew they were using Mooneye. And they, Luke ended up telling me, he's like, "Hey, we're using these Mooneyes." And I'm like, "Oh no, really? Okay." And this is probably 99, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. And I said, "Well, what makes you think the Mooneye are that much better?" He said, "Well, we're winning every tournament on Mooneye, and everybody else has got shad, and skipjack." And I said, "Okay, I want to see this for my own, I want to see this for myself." So I started using Mooneye. I started using Mooneye against shad. I started using Mooneye against whatever skipjack I could get, shad, all this stuff. And I'm telling you, Mooneye just prevails. I mean, it just constantly prevails. What's up, Pete?
How's it going, Sean? Thanks for tuning in. I know I missed a few other people who came in. Kelly, Bullock Experience, had a good show tonight with Dieter Melhorn. That was really, really cool to have kind of the one off there. It was more of an intimate. And when he does his shows and does different things or gets on some of the other bigger platforms, he doesn't really have time to take in all the questions. And so it was really nice to have I call it an intimate session.
Yeah.
But good job with that one. I enjoyed it. Correct. Got the email. I'll do that again. So then, shoot. Oh, the 3-day cycle you was talking about on these big fish being on a 3-day feeding cycle. Is that just for fish of that size and caliber? Does it change through the size groups?
Yeah, and I'll give you one example how I know this is true, and it played itself out over a period of 10 years, day after day after day after day. So I would move into and this is pre-spawn when fish are set up And let me set the stage. The water wasn't too high, it wasn't too low, it was just right for entire Junes, probably 4 years in a row in the early 2000s. And so I would set up, I would motor over a spot, see the tree, the sunken root ball, and sometimes even mark the big fish there. So there was a 60-pounder that basically lived there. And I caught him 4 times that season, 4 times. But that flathead habitat was so great, but it was so singular that no other fish could inhabit it. That fish would just keep everything else clear. I never caught another fish on that spot, even though I'd catch fish above it and below it and downstream and upstream and at the dam and blah, blah, blah. I'd go into that. I didn't catch.
Oh, that was unexpected. It looks like he had some signal issues. Poor Tim, if we could all pitch in and get him reliable internet service, I bet there would be a GoFundMe set up and maxed out in no time to help get him squared away. Oh, looks like he's back. Let's get him back in here. God love it, buddy. It's all right. Thanks, Brad, by the way. So while you're stepping up there, I've actually experienced it, and it sounds like you have too, about how territorial these flatheads can be, that they'll go back to the same spot over and over and over again.
Or if they're getting fed, they'll never move.
Yeah, if they don't have to
go shallow, they don't have to go deep. They don't have to move. They can just stay underneath the root ball all day, every day, and they don't. Maybe if they move an hour or whatever, that's fine.
Right.
Of course, my wife took the charge tower off of my deck because it's raining and did not tell me. Didn't tell me where it is either. There it is. So I bought one of these little charge tower things that sits on my deck. And one thing is that if I'm doing a live, it will run my battery straight down if I don't have it plugged in.
Really?
Oh
yeah, I think
my phone's kind of old. It's not that great.
Yeah, when I do lives on the water, I hook it straight up to the battery.
What's that, Roger?
When I go live on the water, I have to hook my phone straight up to the battery of the boat, or it won't last very long at all. Here's a good one. Any advice for us in the Glizzy Master tournament Saturday? I don't think he liked that question. The Glizzy Masters is going to be fun. It'll be hard to tell who's going to win it. Myself, I'll be honest with you. I would go for the less points, use natural baits, and just try to catch as many as I could to make up for the loss in points, because I don't have any faith in glizzies. The only glizzies that go on my boat need to go on the grill. So, but people say that about chicken too, and I use chicken. There's times when chicken outperforms everything else on my boat at certain places and certain times. But I'm going to assume that might be the same for the glizzies as well. But Tim, they were asking if you had any advice for the Glizzy Masters tournament Saturday. I gave my 2 cents.
Any advice on the Glizzy Masters tournament? Are they asking me?
Yeah, that's that's what I was wondering. I don't think you've ever used a hot dog for bait, have you?
Roger, my signal's so terrible. I can't even hear you.
Oh, okay.
Because we've got a storm coming in, and that seems to affect it quite a bit. I'm even out on the porch, which usually it turns out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So they got a Glizzy's tournament. Sounds like you're having some. Yep. Oh, I think I did that. Let me see. All right, so we've got he's got some technical issues over there. Poor guy. I know that I know he gets frustrated with it, but he's got so much knowledge. Kelly's only 9 subs away from 200. If anybody hasn't already subbed to Kelly, he's got a great show on Tuesday nights as well at 6:00. And I'll be honest, Kelly's been banging out some top-notch guests. I'm going to step up my game to keep you guys entertained here. Epic is suffering from the pinwheel of doom. Not sure. What does that mean, Uncle G? Soaking olive oil and garlic. Oh, back in the house?
Yeah, I'm back in the house. Who knows? Who knows if it'll last, but at least static's gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Here we go. I'm going to sit right over top of the router.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, I guess. All right. So I was talking about this fish that I caught 4 times that very season. And
right.
That the whole situation with that fish is that exactly what context were we talking about that as far as how I knew that the moon eye was doing really good? Or
no, we were talking about the feeding cycle, the 3-day cycle
the feeding cycle. Yes. Okay. So I would go in there and just say I went in on Monday, and then I went in on Tuesday, and then I went in on Wednesday, and then I go in on Thursday, catch the fish. And if I look back to my notes that far, I'm sure, because I made a special note of it because it was really anachronistic as much as that fish was almost a perfect 3-day cycle. Now, there's been other fish that I've been on to in the past that lived in this same area and would be a 2 to 4 day, but it just seemed like it was an average of a 3-day cycle. And I came to that conclusion over a period of probably, 15 years. And not a lot of the fish shuffle. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of them shuffle. There's the big sunken barge. I almost never caught the same fish twice, but there was always lots of huge fish there along with other fish. And it seemed like you go in there the 3rd day. The first day was awesome. The second day was okay. The 3rd day was terrible. Maybe the 4th day was terrible. Maybe the 5th day was okay. And then by the time you get into the 6th day, it's on again. And sometimes it has to do with weather and sometimes it has to do whatever. But as a general rule, that 3-day cycle on big fish is the only thing I can describe it as is if big fish get on and they feed heavily, I don't think they need to eat for 2, 3, 4 days after that. I really don't. I mean, that's the idea that I get. I've never had a 70 or 80 pound fish in my aquarium or in my, bait tank outside. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
But I've had 40s and 50s, and they seem to go on a pretty good cycle as far as, they may not eat for 2 days, may not eat for 3 days. And then all of a sudden they eat everything in the tank. I mean, little ones, they kind of got to eat when but I think the big ones have a metabolism change of some sort that they're even slower than a fish that's, like little fish under 36 inches.
I got you. And that makes sense. Because the same as, the way they feed up, they're going to eat a bigger meal or try to gorge up, and then you relax because it uses less energy. It's more efficient for them.
Yeah.
Than running and gunning, hunting everything down every single day.
Yep. And I think that a lot of big fish that I've caught in the past are more sedentary females, believe that or not. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and I said, a lot of the males, they may have the length, but they don't have the super weight. Let's just say some of the fish that I've caught are, 55, 56, 57, 58 inches long. But the females are the ones that are humongous. I mean, just big in the teeth, big, giant, just giant bottom jaws. They've got, they're real round, and almost all of them seem to hit slow, not very aggressive, and they don't move off very fast. Now, the big males that are that long, they just aren't that weighty. Maybe they're 55 inches long, but they're only 62 pounds. It seems that they'll move off fairly fast. And the penchant for females to eat live bait, i.e. moon eye, is pretty big, at least where I'm at. Like I can fish a spot that's as big as a normal sized living room for a while, and maybe catch 3, 4, 5 fish, and I know I've hit it. And I fish it with live bait. I've hit, the down sweep. I've hit the up sweep. I've hit the head of it. I've hit the tail of it. I mean, it's not that far of a cast. And then all of a sudden throw one piece of moon eye in there, and then all of a sudden you catch the frickin', 50 or 60 or 70 pound female that doesn't have a bite mark on her during the spawn. And it's just a tremendous fish. And all the other ones that you're catching are, they've got 6 bite marks on them, and some of them are missing their pectoral fins half-ass, and some of them don't even hardly have a whisker. They've been beating each other up so bad, but yet you got one big one that doesn't have a bite mark on them yet, and it's mid-June. But why wouldn't that fish eat live bait? I don't know. There's a lot of things we will never know about these flatheads, which makes them interesting.
Now, when you're setting up on, structure like that, and you want to be able to pinpoint, like you said, the front of it, the down sweep, inside and outside, how far are you anchoring the back of the boat away from your target? And let's say, you're 15 foot of water. How far away are you going to set up on that to be able to cover it all?
Just ahead of the drop. I don't want to be behind them, but I don't want to get too far from them. One thing about flatheads is it doesn't seem that you can pressure a flathead. Like, you can't encroach on them too hard. They're not boat shy. You know what I mean? Right. So a lot of times
I've heard you say before, they're the last ones to flee. They'll hold their ground the longest.
That's right. And a lot of times I'll catch the very first fish on the trip only 5 foot away from the boat. It's 15 foot down, but 5 foot out in 20 foot of water. And I'm sitting on 9, or I'm sitting on 7, or I'm sitting on 8. And it's just behind the boat. So I'm fishing those harder drops. I mean, the angle a lot of times is like this, from the top to bottom, not like this, right. Like this. So the top of my boat is right above my knuckles, and might only be in 4 to 7 foot of water, but it's basically straight above my knuckles. And then my bait lands right here where the tips of my fingers are, because that's where it flattens out. That's that crevice, that spot where they love to sit. Sometimes where my knuckles are, they're sitting up there active, laying with their lip on it like that. But that's a rare thing.
So they just grab everything as it comes by with zero effort.
Exactly. So if it's coming along the top like this, it's ambush, because there's nothing of that fish sticking out. I wish I could do drawings right now, but matter of fact, I probably could. So as we're talking, I'll just do a drawing real quick. But
there you go. It's crazy because I got a spot in my mind on the river that is exactly what you just described, and I'm ready to go.
And you know what? Here's the thing: they don't exist that much. There's not that many that exist. But once you find them, they're usually classic big catfish habitat.
This is about a 7 foot.
They have to have more than just a drop.
Yeah, it's got structure in it, all kinds of structure.
Okay, sometimes too much is too much, because they tuck back into that and don't ever have to come out.
Yeah, we usually have a hard time getting our stuff back when we throw down in there, but it goes from 7 foot to about 32 feet.
Yep.
By the length of the boat.
I'm just drawing.
But so while you're talking there, Skip is also one that was jumped on the bandwagon and heading to Quincy, Illinois, fishing the Mississippi with me. So he had a question if you've ever fished that area, And if you had any tips for us that are going to be fishing that Fishing for Freedom area.
I do, and one of them is downriver is very tough.
Yeah, I plan on calling you and having a notepad ready.
Okay. Well,
because I'd love nothing more to put my veteran on a good fish.
Yep, downriver is
or many or a bunch of small fish. I wouldn't care either way as long as my veteran's happy.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of about 3 things. 1, there's a bunch of wing dikes, and 2, it's very difficult to even know which wing dike is going to be any good because there's a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of rock riprap with deep water along the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks is on the Missouri side, or the Missouri side. It's on the other side. So you're going to, from the dam, which is basically probably going to be your launching spot within a few areas of the dam. If you go downriver and go to the right, there is a rock riprap area that's really long along the railroad tracks that I've done good at in the past. There's also a head of an island there on the right side. There's a nice swirly hole drop. The problem is you guys aren't going to have much water. I'm telling you that right now.
The other problem I see coming for at least me in my boat is, all these wing dikes and key areas that are easy for people to spot from Navionics and spot from Google Earth and things like that, or locals. They're going to hammer those, and they'll all beat me to it. Now, my boat runs about 30, 35.
Okay, so I will tell you a specific spot, but you're going to have to call me because I can't say it in this, because then there'll be people on it because it's too obvious and too easy, but yet everybody overlooks it.
Those are the spots I need.
Yeah, I've got one spot like that, and it's pretty much guaranteed to catch you fish. You got to be there at the right place at the right time, but it's not one of those ones for publication if there's that much competition for you. Yeah,
and it's not. It is a tournament. It's there's no monetary value to it, and it's bragging rights only. But it is a tournament, and if I could put my veteran on a win, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I really just want him to have a good time. He hasn't contacted me yet, but the schedule events is you meet him on Friday. They have a little get together and a dinner on Friday night. Saturday, you guys go out and fish together and pre-fish. Saturday night, they have a banquet and they have lots of cool stuff that goes on at the banquet. And then Sunday is the tournament. I believe it's like 6 a.m. to noon.
Yeah.
So it's not an all-day tournament or anything like that, but did I get you, Skip? Skip said, "Hey, I asked a question. I think we got him."
Okay. So
and Brad
let me try to show this real quick.
Sure. We love visuals.
Can you? I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yes, I can.
If you can see it.
Hang on. Give me a second. I'm going to give you solo layout here. Okay. Everybody can see that. There we go.
All right. Let me back up so you can see the rest of it. So up here where the boat is, sometimes it's only 4 foot of water, but the current is directly in line with it. And there's a drop associated with that. So you see the 2 arrows or 3 arrows up top? The current's going that way. But back here off the piece of paper, there's also a rise, which some of that current gets caught on the back of that. And it actually comes back towards the boat underneath the water. And these flatheads sit at the very bottom crevice of this drop, as well as move around in the hole. There's also, which you can't see on this, a sunken ship to the right of my boat. And so this sunken ship is caught on this 4 foot as well as down into the 20 foot. And there's a spot underneath it where they hang out. But anyways, even without the sunken ship, that's still a great type spot, especially if that's attached to the bank.
Yeah, I'm sitting there visualizing more spots in my head that play out exactly like that. And I'm thinking I may have anchored. I think I'm anchoring too far back. Yeah. Too far away from that drop.
Yeah. You want to be to where you can lay that line from your boat right along that slope all the way to the bottom of where the deepest, not the deepest necessarily, but where it goes from flat to comes up, because they love that spot. They'll lay sideways on that. They'll lay backwards on that. They'll lay.
I was wondering, because you said there was reverse current. I was wondering, would they also be flipped around the other way?
Yeah, and I'll tell you how we know this is because since there's reverse current coming this way, when they actually bite it, they come towards the boat. So if you throw it not in the crevice, if you throw it out and it dribbles, gets caught, they'll bite it and they'll come directly back towards the boat. Downriver,
hey, I didn't hijack that idea, Skip. If you would have been paying attention earlier, I already asked him.
What?
He said I hijacked that question out from underneath of him. He wanted the inside scoop. And if Skip
at Quincy. Well,
if Skip don't think I'm going to share every bit of knowledge I can get on that place, he's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there's
because it's team River Warriors all the way. All three of us are taking all three of our boats to Quincy. Instead of fishing together and doing whatever, because they needed boaters, all three of us signed up and taking our boats from Ohio all the way out to Quincy, Illinois.
Well, I'm here to tell you that if I had a choice between Quincy and Keokuk, it'd be Keokuk every day, every time. No. Matter of fact, I've fished Quincy very few times, and we've done really well. But you're limited on where you can, on the choices that you can have, because everything downriver looks very much the same. There's not a lot of there's not a whole bunch of choice at Quincy. There's a lot of choice at Keokuk. Matter of fact, Keokuk, we did I think it was June 10th or so. We did a 2-day trip there, and we caught like 25 flatheads. So, and it wasn't just in one spot. We didn't just get lucky and catch 25 flatheads in one spot. We caught flatheads everywhere that flathead habitat that was premium was available. And it was quite a trip. Now I've done it when the flatheads are a little bit rougher, but that's going to depend on water level. If water level is really low, you can still do really good, but it's going to be way less predictable.
Oh, Creole, the smack talking has began. So we have a friendly one versus I don't know what you call it. It's I'm not sure how many people Creole is going to have on the boat. We're going to have all three of the River Warriors versus Creole catfishing as soon as the water gets right. So basically, he's going into spawn right now. So having a challenge now would not be fair. If we won, it would not be enjoyable knowing that he's facing spawn, tough conditions. And the same thing, as he comes out of spawn, we'll be going into spawn. So we're going to kind of give it a little while. We'll let this build up over time, and we'll let the smack talk roll. And then when the water's calmed down, we'll turn up the heat. Yeah, Creole. Our Skip, we're up against the Creole crew. Skip just tie a rope front tag team. Hey, I might be my boat might be tied to somebody's boat anyway if the damn thing keeps acting up.
That's funny.
Hey, I got a 9.9 kicker on it. I don't know what the current is in that area, but with the way water is right now, I think I should be able to get back to the boat ramp within a day or two.
You can get back to the boat ramp with a trolling motor right now. Keokuk is at 6. I think Quincy's at like maybe 9. It's pretty pathetic for June.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Epic smack talk.
Yeah.
You guys don't even want to hear me talk smack talk. It's just not even fair.
We should do a 6 versus 6 bragging right tournament. I'm not sure how you want that to work, Brad. We're all doing bragging right tournaments. while we're talking about tournaments, and we still got 28 folks in chat, the kids catfishing for kids tournament, man, has come along pretty good. We are, like I said, we're booked up on day one. I got to double check the list for day two. It looks like we've got 5 out of 8 teams signed up for day two. We have a couple maybes out there, but I'm not going to hold those spots if other people can jump in. It'll be a first come, first serve basis. But man, we've got a lot of cool things going on. Rods and reels given away. We've got, I received Uncle Jeeps in chat. I received the Amazon gift cards that we're going to give away to the kids that he donated. J-Dog has a Catfish Pro reel he's donating. Dan's Creation volunteered to make some sort of trophy for the winner. So we got it going on for these kids. Chris from Catfish Clothing has donated catfish hats for the kids in the tournament. I've got the details on that worked out yet, but man, it feels awesome to have folks wanting to help out with the kids and make it a cool event for them. I'm super proud to be hosting it, and I want to make the kids proud. That's all. So yeah, as far as tournament stuff, I fished a few tournaments. I guess if I had more experience or more faith in the boat getting done, doing what I needed to do, I'd jump in more tournaments. But right now, I'd just be happy to get the boat started and go fish.
And what style of boat is yours? What make and model?
I got a 22-foot Sylvan Deep V.
Okay. So that just eliminated one spot, because you do not want a Sylvan where I was thinking of sending you on this one.
Oh, yeah.
This one spot's basically a shoe-in, but it'll beat up a Sylvan pretty good. It'll beat up most boats. You got to have something really rigid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it entails tying up to a concrete wall, and you got confused seas and swells and everything else, and it'll beat you to death on that. Unless you look at my older videos where I had my roller bumper still on my boat. You ever remember seeing those?
Roller bumpers?
Oh, yeah. Nobody ever asked me about them, which I was surprised. They're in like the first, 4 or 5 videos before I took them off. Because I don't really need them after that. But in June, I use them a lot. And I'll use them a lot in like early August, but late August, I don't. So, I invented those things.
Hey, Stonefly, the age range for the kids is 16 and under. 16 and under, the tournament will be just like this. It'll be streaming through StreamYard on YouTube. So just like I bring, Tim on screen or anybody else on screen, I'll have 8 teams up here on screen at the same time. So I'll end up, if a kid catches a fish and I hear somebody yell fish on, I'll go solo layout and we can all enjoy the kid watching them. So basically anybody in the country that has internet service where they're fishing at can get in on the tournament. We do have 3 or 4 spots left for day 2. Day 1, it filled up pretty quick. Day 2 is still out there. So still, I want to get it. I like to get it full, but if not, we're going to run with what we have and we're going to have fun. When I saw the bumpers, I knew right away.
Yeah.
Is that the pool noodles on the outside of the gunnels?
The gigantic, they're not pool noodles. These things are like 10 inches across.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Justin said everyone's looking the videos up right now. The viewers just dropped. We went from like 30-something down to 20-something. I was like,
sorry about
that. I got to watch this video. What the hell is he talking about?
Sorry about that. Yeah. They're in it. Matter of fact, you can see them the best probably in that winter blues when we did on the power plant lake. Even though I'm surprised people didn't ask, what are those for like hauling big fish over the boat or what? But that's what they're for.
Hey,
I've had various other devices and other things, and Just nothing worked as good as those. Because those will let you roll up and down. There's no light out here, of course. Until I turn on.
Stonefly, the day 2 for that is the following Saturday. So the first day of the tournament is June 19th, which is a Saturday. June 20th is Father's Day. And although that would probably be a great day to have it, I'm going to assume that there's a lot of folks, including myself, that have other plans to do some more family things. And so I'll leave that holiday for everyone to enjoy with their families and whatnot. So the tournament will be the following Saturday as well. So it'll be the 19th and the 26th. 19th and 26th. Whiskers and Stripes says he thought it was for pulling nets and anchors overboard.
That's what it kind of looks like, but that's not what it's for.
Catfish and regulators, Roger and Epic. That's what's cracking, folks. Yeah, we're still hanging out. We get rolling. It's hard to tell how long this could go. I'm taking a look here, see how I went through want to look at my notes and make sure that I try to take notes to get in for the night. My biggest topic was basically the moon eye. Most of us all have our own personal preferences as far and techniques when it comes to catching, bluegills, green-eared sunfish, shell crackers, and all the other multiple species, shad. But the moon eye was the one that really kind of intrigued me the most, and I felt was the most challenging. So it was the one I wanted to tackle the most.
Well, when you go down there for that tournament, Asian carp is a must. You may or may not be able to get moon eye, but you're gonna have to have either golden suckers, which I'm pretty sure you've got them in the Ohio River Valley. Do you have them?
Right.
Do you know where to get them?
No. I mean, I know like the regular red horse suckers. A lot of them are small creeks around here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Red horse.
Same
suckers.
thing.
Yep. Either white suckers or red horse suckers. Red horse have the big scales. The white suckers have the little ones. You want those as a backup bait, and you definitely want to get Asian carp, which isn't a problem down at Keokuk. Just run your boat in a little circle in an eddy, and you should have a couple jump in. Just don't have your rods in the rod holders because they will break your rods. I mean, some of them are 30 pounds. So, but Asian carp is going to be a must. Try to get moon eye, but bring red horse suckers or regular suckers as your backup bait. I mean, that is our go-to for that area.
Yeah, I'm in a group chat with a lot of the guys from Quincy out there, and some of the guys are planning on going out and try to catch bait. If all goes well, we're actually going to go a day early. We're going to try to go down Thursday.
So they're going to try to catch moon eye to begin with?
Yeah, I'm going to try to catch moon eye here and take it with me.
Okay. There you go.
That's my goal anyway.
Yeah. I was going to say, the guys down at Quincy hitting them moon eye spots will make them real scarce.
Yeah.
I can always tell when there's a tournament and whatever, because that bait's real hard to get because there's only so many places in the Keokuk area, in the Meyer, in the what, there is how far north of Quincy can you go?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I know the pool numbers, but I don't know what that means. So I gotta do some research. I just recently switched over. I was fishing Mark Twain Lake for crappie with my father-in-law. Unfortunately, we've had a death in the family, and things are kind of messed up right now. He's got to travel to New Jersey, and so he's not gonna make this trip. So I switched because he likes to crappie fish. He's not a catfisher.
You never want to go to Quincy without bait, ever, because that. I don't think I could anyway. Right. I'm sure the three of us going out will probably get together and team up and see what kind of bait we can round up for each other. We each have our own kind of specialty as far as what we can get. I imagine the three of us will pull together and help each other out. That's how I imagine it'll go anyway. Papo Ed says an Asian carp will break your face. Yes. Don't underestimate the power of bluegills at Keokuk either. Keokuk, Quincy, all that stuff. It's just kind of goofy. Every once in a while, you can get on where half a bluegill will do just as well as anything else.
Sean says you've caught more bluegills than anyone ever.
Caught a few bluegills in my life, yeah.
Uncle Lou says cut tails off and bleed them in a baggie right away, usually 3 to 4 for blood and 2 for chunks, and do not cut into the gut pockets. I'm assuming these are for the Asian carp, or are these for the are you talking for the moon eye?
He's talking about for the Asian carp.
Okay. So I know one of the methods that I saw down there where the guys were beating the tar out of them while they was alive with a small ball bat and bruising the meat so that the blood stays in the meat. And it was a method that it made sense. I don't know that it works. It made sense. I know that
it does make sense.
I know that blood does pool up in the meat as it's bruised. That's what it is, a bruise. So while they're still alive, they beat the tar out of them with a small wooden ball bat or whatever, and
hammer.
Then or a hammer, yeah. That's a new way to get hammered, I guess.
Well, I think I'll have to try that.
It makes sense. I don't know that it works or not, but it does make sense.
Can't hurt.
I kind of freaked out when these guys started beating the tar out of it. It looked like some kind of back alley beating they were putting on this these Asian carp. I'm like, what the hell's going on? That's
funny.
I thought it was just because they're so crazy acting. They was trying to knock them out or kill them, so they quit flipping all over the place. And but I've heard other folks talk about it, and I've seen it done. There you go. Dieter says he talks about that with common carp. I haven't seen that, but Has tunes in right as I say get hammered. What's up, Has?
It's happening there, Has life.
So we're just hanging out. We've been talking about bait. We've been talking about catfish. We're talking more specifically about flatheads. We need to get a little series going here on Tuesday nights, like Flathead 101 or something. What do you think about that?
Be all right. I'd be up with that. And flatheads are going to be a topic of interest because they're so. Everybody wants to say they're goofy. They're not goofy. They're so primitive that they're controlled so much, not by their habits, it's by what they have evolved to do. What's Creel saying?
He said it's a great way to relieve stress, Soprano style.
Mugging a bunch of Asian carp in a back alley. I see. I see how Creel does it now.
Then there'll be guys running around saying "Stop Asian hate" and whatnot.
Oh, geez. Let's not even go there.
Got the real thanks, bro. What was that, buddy?
I think that there was like 10 incidents of Asian hate before that, and then like after the corona, it went to 20. But yet the news media said Asian hate has doubled. Just all that kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and we.
The flatheads, they're so primitive, and they're so they just don't lend themselves well to an angler's thoughts. Carp lives matters. Mm-hmm. So
that's because as anglers we try to think what the fish are thinking, and the fish don't think.
Yeah.
They react.
Yep. And a flathead has such a variety of activity levels, from very sedentary to almost non-existent, all the way up to very aggressive. But the very aggressive part is such a small part of their lives that when we hit on very aggressive flatheads, we think, man, I just been missing them this whole time. People would be surprised how many flatheads they are fishing with their baits right next to them, very close to them, and they're just not catching them because flatheads don't care. They eat when they want to. They're not at the mercy of a high metabolism. They revolve in a low metabolism, which gives them time and gives them the luxury of turning their nose up at baits most of the time. Flatheads have to fight each other more than they have to eat a lot of the times. And I know that sounds dumb, but it's not.
So in most cases, what are they, outside of spawn, what are they competing for? They'd be competing for territory?
Territory, because if they can control the territory, if they can keep those other mouths out of their way, out of their area, out of their zone, out of their house, however you want to call it, then they don't have to work as hard. But yet they win. I mean, that's their whole thing. They're fighters. They're not movers. They're not shakers. They're fighters. That's what they do. They basically beat each other up into submission so that they can control a piece of real estate, because real estate means everything. Real estate means food. Real estate means size, and real estate means getting the girls. Best house, best current, best cover, best depth, they get the girls. Because the girls, they don't look at one and go, ooh, boy, he looks great. They don't have any idea about that, but his house looks good. And that's the area, and fish, they're so simple. They're not affectionate. They don't, that flathead isn't doing anything. That flathead isn't bringing home the bacon for that girl. He's not making her life easy. He's making it difficult. It's a primal instinct for the females to come in there, and channel cats are a lot. Most of the time it's just black dark, so it's not, even though I'm constantly saying that they have a lot better night vision than what we think they do.
So with the flatheads, like you was talking earlier, targeting, setting up on those drops and whatnot during the spawn, aren't they up shallow?
Not always. Not
always.
Sometimes they are, and sometimes I have to remind myself of that. Sometimes I'll be too deep and I'll have to go, geez. But that's the spawn. That's closer to July 4th in my range. June, the whole month of June, on a normal year, normal water flow, normal water condition, whole month of June is basically, just balls out on flatheads.
Creole says, so basically flatheads are gold diggers.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they don't do anything. They just sort of move in and, basically get attacked. And I say that because the females make themselves available in this house, in this cover, in this current-oriented layer that the big male inhabits. And then the males just literally attack them and beat them up, basically, for a short period of time. Bite their tails, hold them down, do all their stuff. It's pretty brutal, actually. And then the female moves off, and you don't hear from them. They go deep, they go dormant, they go silent, whatever they do. But
they don't call, they don't write.
What's that?
They don't call, they don't write, they don't nothing.
Don't call, don't write, don't nothing. They just drop those babies off and say, here you go. You just go ahead and take care of those. Thanks for the beating.
It's not as brutal as the carp have been here. I'm going to assume the carp are beating the tar out of the females up against the banks, knocking the eggs out of them. So
yeah, and it's kind of very similar. It's which, as a young guy, I didn't understand it was that violent. I thought it was more like trout or salmon or whatever, and they just kind of pair up and do their little shake, and that's it. But it's way more violent. I watch a lot of great white shark shows, and I'm assuming a lot of other people do. Well, that's when the females are at their biggest danger is during spawning season. And the males would basically just bite into them and hold on to them. Nobody's really ever filmed it before, but the scars are really evident after that. And it reminds me a lot of flathead scars right after the spawn, because once you do start catching those females, or you've caught those females that have been attacked, I mean, it's all in that bottom tail section, on the top of the tail, and in the side of the gill plate. It's never on the face or the head. That's all males. Because females usually, this is my guess, females probably don't, challenge males. They're just, in there. And I was trying to figure that out for a long time, and I really wrestled over the idea of females actually being sedentary like that, because that's not. I mean, females are huge. Why would they be docile and sedentary, except for they need to protect themselves? Males need to rule the roost. Females need to protect themselves from danger. So why would a female act all a fool like the crazy little 36 to 48-inch males running around with big heads, huge lips, and little bodies? I mean, it's just it's incredible. I mean, I've caught 48-inch fish that only go 46, 47 pounds. I mean, slim, but they were war horses. I mean, they got one pectoral fin missing. They got my battery's about to go. Oh yeah, I gotta find my charger. At least now I can get to one. No,
Justin, how did I cause that?
What's up?
That was for Justin in chat.
No.
We was out last night catching catfish and mostly crappie, but we kept catching catfish. The channel cats have moved in pretty strong on this lake I'm fishing here by the house.
Just noticing I got a dirt tan. I was working with barnwood today, sanding it. I'm not near as tan as what it looks like in here. It's mostly dirt. It'll come off in the shower.
I'm still trying to fix my coon eyes and sunglass lines. Besides the fact I need a haircut terribly. Because we're going to fire up the grill, and Roger called and said, let's go fishing. So I left. Yep. That's pretty much what happened. I called Justin. He was talking about going fishing later. I said, well, we can just take the boat out if you want. He said, I'll be there in an hour. Okay.
There you go.
And I just got off the lake. I spent all morning on the lake, got home, cleaned up, did some stuff around the house, and then went right back out. Uh-oh. My wife's been listening the whole time.
So, Roger, how far, and I don't mean this derogatorily, how far from a real river are you? Because even my friends that fish the Ohio, they say, Tim, this is nothing but a glorified lake. We got current maybe 3-4 weeks out of the year. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Wow.
Really, in order for us to get to, Tennessee River or James River, Tennessee River is about 6 hours. I could be at like Watts Bar Lake. Mississippi is probably right around the 8-hour mark. James River is right around 8-hour mark.
Wow.
I could be in Alabama. Fishing Lake Wilson Lake and Wheeler in 8 hours.
So I think I might be 11 hours from there. But as far as the Mississippi, I'm an hour from it up here. I just have to travel west an hour and I get to the Quad Cities. But as far as any Bluecat territory, 3 hours minimum.
Can you read that?
Yeah, wedding photos in the coon eyes, yeah. That's funny. So
Ernie wants to cut my hair. I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
You didn't look like you needed a haircut. There was a while when all of us were pretty long in the hair, when you couldn't even get one, when the COVID thing was still going pretty hard.
Yeah, I
had a whole month I looked like Jimmy Houston.
That's not good.
No,
we've been fishing a lot. Actually today's the first day I haven't fished since last Wednesday. I fished Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Wow.
I didn't fish today, and my wife wanted to fish today. I didn't go to bed till like 1:30, 2 o'clock this morning, and she woke me up at 5 and said, "We going fishing?" I was like, "Oh, go back to bed." Dang.
I wish I was fishing that much. Heroes and I did go to the Scary River, though. I've been talking about it a little bit. I was in a live chat. I don't know whose it was, but we went to the Scary River and we caught some fish. That was 2 weeks ago. And then we went last week and the water was up about 1.5 feet and we just knocked the drawers off of them. It was pretty
See
good.
you, Skip. Thanks for coming in, buddy. I will get you added to the group chat. It gets kind of annoying when you're in a group chat. You can mute the notifications though, to where you don't bling all day, because sometimes those guys get fired up in chat and your phone will blow up for a couple hours. I muted the chat, but I can go ahead and check it when I want to and not have to hear it all day. But yeah, in order for me to get, like I said, Skip just left chat, but catching fish in the 50 to 60 pound range in this area is tough. Real tough.
Honestly, if we're not doing a big adventure trip, it's 50, 60 pound fish is pretty tough, except for the month of June. And then, by the time you get to the low water period in August after the spawn, but then again, you're fishing for one or two fish. I mean, that's a different deal than the pre-spawn. The pre-spawn, I can go in the, early part of the day. We can target a bunch of different fish, and then I can settle into some good spots, at the right time and the right place and the right whatever, and hope to get on some big fish. But yeah, there's not very many places except for like the James or people that live right next to the Tennessee or whatever, pretty much around the country that you've got a shot at a 50 or a 60 within, 10 minutes of your house.
Oh yeah. Well, even the Ohio River for me is an hour and 15 minutes for the closest boat ramp, and anywhere from an hour 15 to an hour and 45 most of my boat ramps.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just try to tell myself, I'm going to drive almost 2 hours to go to the Ohio River. I might as well make it 3 and go down to Tennessee. Or no, Owensboro. Owensboro is about 3 hours for me. It's on the Ohio, but they get a lot bigger fish down there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but that's also tough to be so.
Yeah, that fishing down there is not easy. There's some guys that are successful down there. Mike Greenwell was in here a little while ago. Said they caught 100 skipjack today, and I think 24 catfish in the last 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
100 skipjack.
Yeah, that'd be nice right now.
Ohio, I remember Ohio being pretty plentiful with skipjack where I went. I think wasn't too far from where the Wabash was. So whatever pool I was on there. Do you know what pool that was? We just drove to it.
What is it? Which pool?
The pool that's not too far from the Wabash River.
I got you.
Maybe it's 100 miles from the Wabash River. Is that the Smithland pool down there?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that area.
Okay.
Creole says he's spoiled rotten. One of the ramps is only 15 minutes away from his house.
Yeah, that's pretty spoiled rotten.
And he's got big fish, big water, good food.
Is there a charging block in here?
Oh, we're still trying to fix the dying battery.
We have no blocks anymore.
Are you waking her up?
No, she's watching TV. There's no charging blocks anywhere in the house. Kids are gone, so they got all the charging blocks in their pockets.
See you, Kelly. Thanks for stopping in. Good show tonight, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
Sorry, I wasn't real prepared for this thing.
I know it was kind of spur of the moment. That's all right. We ain't got to keep you all night. We just wanted to get a little bit more insight, answer some questions, and get your take on some of the get your take on some of the bait that we were talking about. And he gone. Let's see what happened there. Yep, he gone. Roger, I'm fat and ugly, so it's not perfect. What? So it's not perfect. Spool rotten. I'm not sure. You're not fat and ugly. I like you, buddy. Local pet store. Only a few minutes away, but that kind of frown on me fishing there. They do seem to get a little upset when you go trying to fish in their pool there. That's real close. Okay, Papa Wade, I'm not familiar with that area down there. I fished the Monsters on the Ohio down there one time. I just go off of some of the other guys I see fishing that area. Obviously, we got Mike Greenwell fishing down there, and then Joey Kirby down there as well. Both awesome anglers and really good dudes. Did you get your charger found?
Got the block found. The only one we had in the whole house, evidently. And yeah, so I'm basically sitting over the router again. One of these days, my internet people are gonna have some hell to pay. I think I'm just gonna call them and just tell them what I think.
Do you have? Is it even available in your area any faster than what you got?
It is, but what you end up paying for a certain amount, but after a while they throttle you down because they're trying to get by with as little equipment as possible and try to put the most amount of people on it. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I have to call them because I pay for like 800 megabytes, and by the time 6 months into the thing, now you're down to 100, and your upload speed is like, I think Heroes told me his upload speed was like 1.2 or something like that, and mine's like 1.3, and it's supposed to be like 5 or 6. And like Has said, you don't even want to try to do a live unless it's like 20.
Right. J-Dog's in the house. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Looks like Ernie's heading out. Great show, Roger. Thank you, Tim, for coming in. Be safe. Got to go to bed. Try to beat the rain tomorrow. Be here around 11. I didn't even know that. I'm supposed to be working outside tomorrow.
Good night, Ernie Brown.
Yeah, I'm checking the weather now because I'm supposed to be. What's that?
I'm trying to, and everybody is probably wondering why this is so jumpy. I've got one of these charging pucks because even my little charging port doesn't work anymore, so I can't just plug anything in. So I got to hold this puck up to it, and so you can't use a tripod. Oh yeah, it's terrible.
What's up, Wampus? Thanks for stopping in. Well, I'll tell you what, we're at 10 o'clock now. I know you're holding the charger up here on your phone, trying to stay with us. Terrible. So we'll just wrap it up for the night. We'll save some for next week if you got time. And
I think I might just tape this thing to the phone next time so I can put it on.
There you go.
And get like a really long cord.
There you go. That will work. So, guys, thank you guys all for being here. We'll get back and get on some action next week, and we'll continue to chop it away. Be watching for some live streams. I don't know what my plans are yet this week or next, but we'll share some action with you. We make it out on the water. So. We'll see you guys next week. Same cat time, same cat channel, right here on Muskrat Adventures.
Yep. Thanks for having me on, Roger.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.